Welcome to the Real Agents of Change podcast, where we love to hear from our nonprofit friends, those they serve, and those who serve them, specifically about what they would do with the average donation of $550,000 from one piece of real estate. And today we have Rob with us. He's going to talk about City Fam and any other nonprofits that he loves and supports and is part of. Rob, tell our viewers a little bit about your nonprofit friends and what you do with the $500,000.
Sure. Thank you for having me on, Cami. So City Fam is my baby. It's something I started a little over 7 years ago. And we're on a mission to end loneliness. And the idea really came about for me, even though City Fam isn't faith-based per se. What happened for me was I was a nightclub promoter, as you know, and I had a really active social life. It was also very destructive in many ways. And I became a Christian when I was 27 years old. I didn't even know any other Christians. I just had this encounter with God where he was telling me to follow him and trust him. So I went from being this party boy to like really not even knowing how to live anymore, do life, or who to do it with. I didn't really relate to church people. And to be honest, they were a little boring to me anyway. So I found myself sitting at home alone a lot on the weekends with nothing to do and no one to do it with. And I white knuckled it for several years, trying to maintain my positive changes. Then eventually I just ran out of gas and I just went back to the bars because I needed to be around people. I needed some social interaction again. And I started picking up all my old bad habits one after the other until I pretty much ended back to where I was before ever accepting the Lord. Just kind of made a mess of things. So a few years later, I rededicated my life. I went through the exact same thing where I was like really looking for a group of people to hang out with that I felt like were like me, that were doing some fun stuff, also wanted to become the best version of themselves. And I just couldn't find anything out there. So I started organizing these social events, kind of partly for myself because I thought I wanted something to look forward to. I was working hard, very hard during the week. And, but also partly because I had friends from my past that really needed something. They needed either to get sober or maybe I felt like they might need God or just a good community of people. They were struggling. So I was like, I can't get them to come to church, but I think I could get them to come to a social event. And if there were people there that had their shit together, sorry if I'm not sure if I'm allowed to cuss, but if there were people there that had it together, I thought that they might rub off on them and something good might happen. And I was right. And that's exactly what happened. And I saw a lot of people's lives change. And it also gave me a social life, which was great. So now we're in the process of trying to share that message and spread it as far and wide as possible. We think there's a lot of people out there like me that are either making good decisions and staying, sitting at home every weekend bored and lonely, or people that are making potentially bad decisions and they're like, but what's the alternative? That because I was in both places. So
Well, I know for a fact what you're doing is really well needed. It's funny how we've kind of gone along parallel paths because I too was a bit of a party girl back in the day, and I actually put the plug in the jug permanently. I know for myself I can't have one. One will lead to three, will lead to 300 of whatever it is that I'm doing. So I love that you're creating this community. Because when I first got sober, I thought, what the hell am I going to do? I don't want to sit in a church basement every night of my life, having a meeting. But so I love what you're doing. Share with us where the name City Fam came from, where your locations are, and what would you do with this money?
yeah, great. So one thing to mention about what you said, I heard a quote, and Alan will get a kick out of this. He's like, I can't have one because one will lead to four and four will lead to 1722. Anyway, that was the after hours club in Baltimore that we used to go do a bunch of bad stuff in. So yeah, I hear you. I'm actually drinking some Kratom right now. This is my new favorite, you know, vice, I guess, if you want to call it that. But City Fam, so it's funny how it came because I was thinking about what this group would look like, and I was trying to find a name about a couple weeks before we ended up landing on City Fam. And as you probably know, everything.com is taken. Like everything's taken, even things that are spelled weird are taken. And I couldn't find anything that reflected who I thought we were that was available. And I started to feel a little stressed. And I remember thinking, you know what, if this is God's idea, you can relax. He will have preserved the name for you. I had that thought. So a couple people were over my house, the guy that ended up being my co-founder and this other girl, Heather Hahn, And I felt like God stirred me up, and I started complaining about, the problems and with what I saw in the church and the void. And got on GoDaddy. I started looking for names, and I had never said fam or family to anybody, but I had thought it, but I had never said it to anybody. So we're all throwing names around, and of course, like I said, everything's taken. Heather goes, "I gotta leave." She's like, "I'm gonna go home." So she left, and then right after she left, I'm thinking something. I thought family, so I typed in family.com. Of course, that was taken, but family.city was available, and I thought, huh. And I thought, so I started texting, meanwhile, I had never said fam or family to anyone. I'd only thought it. So I sent family.city to Heather, and I could see the three little dots that she was texting me as I was texting her. And she sends me, as soon as I send her family.city, she sends me cityfam.com. And we both went, whoa, because
Huh.
we were thinking the same thing at the same time. So of course I searched cityfam.com and it was available, and I bought it for $12. So that's where the name came from. But fam, like family. That's where we really want to be an extended family for our members. We try to take the culture that I liked in the church was, what can I do for you? The culture that I was used to in the clubs was, what can I get from you? We were on some level, everyone was kind of using each other. So I like that. What can I do for you? I thought the church people were great. They were just a little boring. So I'm like, if we could take that "what can I do for you" attitude and put it into a social setting, man, that would be incredible. We could change the world. So that's kind of what City Fam is all about. What I would do with $550,000. Okay, I thought about this a lot. So I want to open a bar in Baltimore, and it's going to be called Home. But we're calling it home because there's no place like home. There is no place like this that exists right now. I know, because when I became a Christian, I was looking for it. I was desperate for a social life. I was desperate to be around some people that I thought I could relate to, and there was nothing out there. I went to Christian coffee houses. I went to young adult ministries, and I went a lot of places. Anywhere I heard there might be something that could be cool, I went and checked it out, and it was not cool. It was lame, and my life became very boring. And I just don't feel like having a good time and making right decisions should be exclusive of each other. So I want to open a bar. We are going to serve alcohol, but we're also going to have things like kratom and kava, ways that people can either get sober. So imagine a bar you could get sober in, or a place that if you are sober, you could stay sober. Because a lot of times when people get sober, they have to go to coffee shops and meetings. That becomes their life, and that's not that fun, especially if you're someone like us, because we like to turn up. So just because I can't drink anymore doesn't mean I don't want to go have a good time, hear some live music. So if we can have some things for those people, and I often think about this too, is like, we all know people that we can get to a bar a hell of a lot faster than we can get to go to a recovery meeting. And if in that bar there's people that are all headed in a direction of becoming the best version of themselves, then a lot of times they get on board, because they're like, wow, that's a lifestyle I can relate to. I can do that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to open this bar in Baltimore eventually, when we have this money, this $550,000, and I believe it's going to change the game. I think people, when City Fan members come from other cities and they see it, their eyes are going to be like open, and their minds are going to be blown, and they're going to be like, wow, I need to open one of these in Indianapolis or Phoenix or wherever I'm from. And we're going to be like, great, go build your chapter, and we'll open one, and we'll open a chain of these bars, which are really just going to be community centers disguised as bars.
Well, here in Florida, there are kava. So there's a kava social club, social kava, kava kratom. Very, very popular here. Yeah.
Kava and
And
Kratom are my best friends.
as a matter of fact, one of my favorite places to go here is a 24-hour kava social club. So there's definitely a need for it. So have you actually scouted out a place? Like, do you
Yeah.
have one in mind?
Yeah. So I believe 19 years ago, God told me where it was going to be. He told me that I was going to be in this building in Canton. You don't know probably where Canton is, but it's downtown Baltimore for the most part. And he told me I was going to be in this building doing something outside the box. And he said people were going to come from all over the world to see what it was or be part of it. And 19 years ago, I didn't know nearly what I know now. So I was like, why would people come to a bar from all over the world? That doesn't even make sense. Of course, I didn't know about City Fam or anything back then. So now I understand it. So I've been waiting for this place for almost 2 decades. And there's been a couple times where the door cracked and I started to walk through it and then it shut. So it's an expensive building. The last quote I got on it was 2.7 million. The owner said he would sell it to me for. So yeah, that 550,000 could be the down payment and potentially some of the renovations that we would need to turn it over. And it's going to be, just to take it one step further, it's going to be a membership model. So anybody that's a City Fam member will be able to get discounts on their food and drinks there. We're also going to have purveyors. We're not going to do the food and drinks mostly ourselves. We'll just rent out the space to operators, almost like a food court. And we're just going to bring the people. That's what we want to do. But, Friday night will be karaoke. Saturday will be cover bands. But then again, on Wednesday night, we might have a faith night. We might have like Mercy Me come in. And so nobody will be able to put it in a box, because we're going to serve alcohol, because alcohol is not a sin not for everybody. For some people it is. You shouldn't do it, but not for everybody. Jesus' first miracle was creating, turning water to wine. So let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater here. So that's what we're going to do. And I believe it's going to send a shockwave through the church world, because it's going to produce so many people, change lives. I don't think the church is going to even understand how it's happening.
Boy, can I relate to that. When you're doing a paradigm shift, and it's something so simple, just like with us. So, the reason for this show is so that people like you, Rob, can let your followers and your family and your potential funders and friends know that gifts of real estate can benefit your nonprofit. There's 1.3 million nonprofits in this country, and 99% of them don't know anything about gifts of real estate. And we've made it so simple to make it risk-free and easy to do. And just like what you're talking about, I mean, it's so simple. Why not have a place where people can come together and have fun and fellowship and friends and be together without becoming, let's just call it what it is, shit-faced. Let's be present. Let's be passionate and purposeful, but present in our own skin. Now, you've got different chapters and branches around the country. Tell us a little bit about where all your City Fam families are.
So we've had people express interest from all over the world, but our systems and processes weren't tight enough, I guess, to really support them to make them successful in the past. So I had a video go viral 3 or 4 years ago called 10 Reasons Not to Have Sex Before Marriage. At the very end, I mentioned City Fam. So I had people, and this video was getting sometimes 30,000 views a day. So people were reaching out to us from everywhere. And we were scrambling, trying to figure out how can we help them get one started. So we figured it out since then. And we have an official chapter, obviously in Baltimore, where I'm at. Houston, Texas, and Oklahoma City is our newest chapter, and they're killing it. We have a group that just started in Phoenix, Scottsdale. They're on their way to becoming a chapter. We do something called Social Fam before we let them use the name City Fam, just to see if they got what it takes. We got about a dozen of those social fams spread out throughout the United States, but we're hoping for a lot more. Our vision is to have one of these in every nook and cranny in the world, because there shouldn't be anybody out there trying to do life alone. If they're making positive changes, that you shouldn't be bored and lonely just because you're wanting to stay on that narrow path. And we want to find those people. So
Amen. By 2025, our goal as the Real Agents of Change is to have charitable real estate specialists and charitable real estate divisions in every marketplace in this country as well. And wouldn't it be awesome for the realtors and the financial advisors, and the CPAs, all the people who help others to understand what to do with real estate, if they were to come together with what you're doing. And our goal is to give $1 billion a year to the nonprofit world, which translates into 50 million in commissions to real estate agents. So if you're a faith-based real estate person anywhere in the country and you want to make money, making a difference, get paid a full commission to help Rob bring his vision to fruition, please reach out to either one of us. So, Rob, we keep these interviews kind of short. We want people to really feel the punch and the pact and the passion and the purpose of what we're doing. What's something that you'd like people to know specifically about how these donations of real estate can help you get your mission moving forward?
Well, I was the last person to believe that money was the answer. For the first several years, we had nothing. And I just thought, what, if you put enough good out into the universe, eventually it has to come back. That's the way it works. And we have done a lot with a little, but I do know that now we need some gas in the tank to get to where we're going to go. I believe that we can solve the loneliness epidemic. I believe that the opioid epidemic is very closely tied to people's their loneliness and their boredom. And if we can overcome those things by getting people to we have this ladder methodology, which is like once you reach the top of the ladder, you reach a place of fulfillment, go back down to the bottom of the ladder. And that really is just at a social event. Because I found it's just the easiest way to get somebody on that path of changing their lives. They don't even know it. You're like, hey, bro, let's just go see this band play. They come out and you love on them a little bit. And then you invite them to, hey, we're going to go do Special Olympics next week. You interested? And they're always like, they're just like, yeah, that sounds awesome. I'd love to do something like that. And by the time they start serving, they feel something different, and you'll see the most amazing changes happen. So yeah, I think it's a revolutionary movement. That this is all God's idea. So if somebody hears something that we said today and believes in it, I would love for them to reach out and help us bring this dream to life.
Well, as they say, when your body shows up, your spirit and heart will just follow. You know, when I go into a 12th step room, wherever it is in this country or the world, I'm hooked to do the next thing with a bunch of sober people. And
Mhm.
so, I just want to honor you. I'm so grateful that our mutual friend, Alan Biles, brought us together and that he's now part of what we're doing. He's the vice president of our community outreach. And you were the first person he wanted to reach out to, knowing how big your mission is. And our mission is to fund your mission so that while you're out there, you can just have as many of these clubs and helping thousands and millions of people to find the Lord and to just live a good life. So thank you for being here, Rob. And for those of you out there who feel like you're a real agent of change and you want to reach out to one of us to find out how can you make money making a difference? How can you, as a real estate agent or financial advisor, help Rob? And if you're a nonprofit seeing this and you want to know how to get funded, look, it all trickles up and trickles down. We are happy to help. And thanks for being here, Rob. And thanks for bringing this beautiful idea to the world.
Yeah, this was awesome. I'm hoping this is a divine appointment. I'm hoping this because I know God's. I'm expecting a breakthrough. I know it's close, so maybe this is going to be the catalyst to it.
Amen. From your lips to God's ears for all of us, because this is a huge mission for both of us. Thanks for being here, guys. We'll see you on the next episode of the Real Agents of Change podcast. Take care.